Welcome back to the DaliTalks podcast. As always, I bring to you the most amazing speakers with the intention of talking about something that maybe you have not thought about. And that is exactly what we're going to discuss today. The topic is how family members are impacted when there is a loss in the family. And I'm talking about not just the nuclear family, but the extended family. This is a really interesting conversation because I never really gave it much thought, and probably because I've not yet lost someone close to me. That's something that I dread. I know it's going to happen one day, but it was a really good conversation. It was a really good conversation. And so I hope that you take away as much as I did. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Trish Springsteen. Caring for others is part of your life, but it's not all of it. This is your space for growth, confidence, and connection to the whole you. Welcome to the DaliTalks podcast.
Well, one of the things that I realized was that parents lose a child, siblings have lost a sibling, you've got aunts and uncles that have lost. But the one group of people that no one seems to even think about or has even thought about are the grandparents. The grandparents have lost a grandchild, but they've got hit by a double whammy because they've got a daughter or a son, or daughter and son, who are going through something that they can't help them with. As a parent, there is nothing worse than seeing your daughter going through a situation that you cannot fix for her. You cannot help her. And I think people don't realize the grandparents get hit twice. They're grieving for a grandchild, and then they're grieving for their daughter or son because they don't know how to help them through this. And I watched my mum have that. And she said to me, I don't know what to do for you. And I saw her grieving, losing her grandson. But she's there saying, how do I help my daughter? How can I fix this? And I cannot fix it. And people don't realize that. I don't think they actually realize that group of people who have got to deal with it on two different fronts. So, with my daughter, yeah.
Trish, you just totally opened that up for me because I'm one of those people I had not thought about. I always think of the parents and the siblings because that's a nuclear family. And I can imagine if it hits so hard. And of course, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, grandparents. I have thought of the aunts and uncles. I never really thought about the grandparents until you just said this. And that's got to be extremely difficult for them too.
Yeah. And the other thing that we had to deal with from our perspective, which is the ripple effect. And the ripple effect is that my daughter lives in America. So I had to help, I had to make a phone call. I had to make a phone call and tell her, and I wasn't there to hold her or anything. So it was very difficult for her to go through that. I've only got two children. I've got my daughter and my son. So the other thing that we had to deal with, and I still have to deal with, is that my daughter can't have children. She had a hysterectomy when she was in her 20s, early 20s, for endometriosis. So our son, Craig, was going to have the children and carry on our name. And that disappeared on that afternoon. And it's something that shattered me completely because I'm never going to be a grandmother.
Wow.
And then it shattered both our family because who's going to carry on our name? The name basically for our nuclear family finishes with my husband and I because my daughter has no children. Yes, we have a niece that carries on, but the immediate carrying on And it's something that the loss of not, and it sounds selfish now because I'm saying, and I often, I think, it's not, but people can say that it's so, because now you're just thinking about yourself. But I'm sorry, I'm left here. And these are the ramifications of the loss that you don't think about. When that happens, it's very hard for me with my whole family. I have problems. Some Christmases are great. Some are not so good. And family gatherings can be difficult because I see my sister with her grandchildren, my brother with his grandchild, my younger brother, who his children are growing up now, will, with all things being equal, probably be a grandparent. I am never going to be a grandparent. And that is a hard thing to come to. Amongst losing my son, it's also the loss of all the other things that come from having your children. The thoughts of and when there's a family gathering, because our daughter is in America, there's just Pete and I. And there's this family gathering, and there's all my nieces and my nephews and my sisters and my brothers. And every now and then there's that like, where's Craig? Where's Al? He's not there. And so it was something that I had to come to terms with. And it is still something that catches me out of left field every now and then because, I'll look around and someone will talk about, my generation will talk about the grandchildren coming through. And I'm sitting here thinking, I have a grandchildren. And, not everybody's a grandparent, but I was wired that way. I was expecting to have grandchildren because I love babies, I love children. And I was thinking, this is growing our family. And for someone who's expecting that to have that taken away is not easy to get used to. So
Right.
when there's a death, or especially, and suicide's a big thing because it comes very quickly and it's not something that you expect. There is so many ripple effects from that. So many ripple effects. And sometimes it doesn't actually become apparent for 6 months, a month, 12 months. Maybe even a few years later, some things can come and hit you that you didn't realize. Like that, not able to say how many children I had, which is a stupid little thing, but it just froze me. And the grandchildren, the name that we
Right.
won't have. And we sit and think about, well, who's going to look after us when we go? Our children are supposed to look after us. My daughter's in America. When things get down that track and we may need to be looked after, who is going to look after that? Who is going to mourn us? It's these little things that hit you. But I
Right.
guess that's one of the reasons why I wrote a book. Is some of the stories in that to be able to help and to encourage people to think about it. But if
Yeah.
anything, I'd say talk about the person that you've lost. You may have had a loss, whatever way it is, and even especially if it's suicide. Don't let that word, that loss, that grief, stop you from remembering the time that you had with that person, however short or long that time was. That person, Craig, was on this earth for 23 years, and I celebrate and want to talk about every one of those 23 years that we had him. And if I don't talk about it, if I let the matter of what happened stop me, then I'm doing a complete disservice to the life that he had. And I won't do that. And that's why I talk about it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Trish. This has been extremely insightful. I feel like, oh my gosh, I knew I was ignorant about a lot of things, and that's why I try to have these conversations when I can. But it is hard for me because, again, I don't want to reopen wounds or be insensitive, say something really dumb. Because sometimes I think that we just don't know what we don't know. So you are helping us educate ourselves with this, so that we can be better humans and better supporters to those who have had a loss. And also, I think that you're helping kind of destigmatize the conversation, and that can be very healing for some people, you know. So, do you have any last words before we go?
No,
Okay.
I believe that we all have stories. And I believe that those stories are meant to be shared. Because if there's one person that reads just one of the chapters in this book, just one of the chapters, and it helps them at a time when they need it, then that made that whole book worthwhile. It made the journey that each of the people who contributed to that book having to go through made it worthwhile. And your story may not be about suicide. Your story could be about grief. Your story could be about a journey that you may have had. It could be about breast cancer. It could be just about you getting the confidence in your life. Each of those stories are meant to be told. And one of my passions is helping people to write those stories, to take the confidence to share that. Because if we don't, then the people who need to hear them will never hear them. So celebrate the memories you have and then share them.
Yes, thank you for your words. And I know that we can get a copy of your book through your website, right? Is there
Yes.
anywhere
Yep.
else?
It's on Amazon as well. So if you go to Amazon, there's a Kindle version there. But you go to my website, which is trishspringsteen.com/books, you'll find that and all my other books there. And if having that book and reading it helps anybody, if anything that I have said in this session has helped anybody, then I am humbly grateful for the opportunity to be able to have shared.
Thank you so much, Trish. Hey, did you like that episode? I have an ask. Would you mind leaving me a review? It would really help me improve this podcast so that you can come back and keep listening. Also, don't forget to check me out at DaliTalks.com and follow me on social media at DaliTalks. Until next time.